Hello, South Africa. Welcome back. This is Chris in central Pennsylvania. Yeah, I know that's Cape Town behind me. That was a FlySAF air flight when I flew in a couple years ago at dusk. The beautiful purple and I guess that's kind of a maroon sky. And off my left shoulder, you can see the load shedding that was taking place. Yeah, in part of Cape Town, but that's not the purpose of this video. Purpose of this video is to talk about how unimportant South Africa is when it comes to issues for the United States. I've talked about, of course, Gaza, Iran, Ukraine, Democrats, the big beautiful bill, all these priorities. But it seems that South Africa is even lower in priority than the Congo. The interlopers from the Southern African Development Community went to the Congo ostensibly for peace, joining a parade of African nations that have interjected themselves into the Congo for over 30 years with no peace. Now, the SADC mission is gone, including the South Africans who performed abysmally there. And today, Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with the ministers from Rwanda and the DRC, and they've just signed a peace agreement. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to hold, but they signed a peace agreement. Peace is breaking out all over, anywhere that Donald Trump gets involved in. Iran, nuclear program gone. Ceasefire. Peace in the DRC, something no one's been able to achieve in over 30 years. So, with that in mind, the reason I mention all that is that South African politicians seem to think they're a high priority for President Trump and that they've reset the relationship. They haven't. Now, let's take a look at what just occurred. Trump just had a massive press conference and a huge political victory for him, in which the Supreme Court, in a 6-3 decision, determined that judicial overreach was happening. Circuit court judges at the federal level around the country are issuing broad injunctions to stop the president from taking action within his legal authorized scope of authority. And they have illegally exceeded their authority. The Supreme Court determined that in a 6-3 decision. It's a massive victory for the Trump administration. He's high on the heels of that victory, walks out of the press conference and starts posting on Truth Social. What did he post? Well, this is what he posted. At 1:44, less than an hour ago, and this is moments after he walked out of that press conference. On his Truth Social, we have just been informed that Canada, a very difficult country to trade with, including the fact that they've charged our farmers as much as 400% tariffs for years on dairy products, has just announced that they are putting a digital services tax on our American technology companies, which is a direct and blatant attack on our country. They're obviously copying the European Union, which has done the same thing and is currently under discussion with us also. Based on this egregious tax, we are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada, effective immediately. We will let Canada know that the tariff that they will be paying to do business with the United States of America within the next 7-day period. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Ow. Shots fired, ladies and gentlemen. Shots fired. Donald Trump has just said that Canada, it's game over. Now, Canada is one of our closest friends, partners, and allies, one whom we share mutual defense with in the North American Air Defense Network and NORTHCOM, with a deputy Canadian general as part of it. Our closest friends after the UK. The recent difficulties between Trudeau and Trump notwithstanding. And that's what's going on there. So can you imagine what's going to happen to South Africa when it comes to tariffs? No ambassador. The special representative, Mkhize Jonas, is still in South Africa, not here, months after he was appointed. No trade representative here. No trade delegation here. No effort by South Africa at all to get these tariffs to go away. So on July 9th, South African businesses will be confronted with a 31% tariff to send their goods and services into America, which will be the death knell of trade and exports to America. Virtually nothing South Africa produces has a significant enough advantage that Americans are going to buy it at a 31% bump in price. And almost no company in South Africa can afford to eat the cost of 31% tariff. Therefore, South Africa's economy is going to take a massive tumble. It's already growing at less than 1% GDP growth this year. This will push South Africa into recession and will tumble the GDP to contraction, not growth. Not good. Not good. Trump has just suspended trade negotiations with one of our closest political partners and allies, one we share a huge border with, the largest border we share with anybody. And South African politicians continue to neglect the trade issue. Ladies and gentlemen, it's done. There's unless somehow Trump has an epiphany and he feels bad for South Africans, it's over. You will suffer a 31% tariff. Why? Because you're inept, dishonest, disconnected, arrogant, elite politicians. that don't care about ordinary South Africans, black, white, or brown. What say you, South Africa, South Africa, Mzansi? Hey, world. Cheers.